Tonight on CFTK-TV News, an update on homelessness outreach in Terrace, a man is charged following the Vancouver vehicle attack, and it's election day as Canadians head to the polls.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Monday, April 28th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. We begin with our news local to the Northwest. A homeless count was underway in Terrace recently. Here's CFTK-TV's Cale Maslin with more details.
During this past Friday, the Kisan Society ran the City of Terrace's annual homeless count, which is where volunteers walked around the community as they were looking to hear from anyone who either didn't pay rent or were housing themselves in an unconventional manner, like sleeping in their vehicle or staying in shelters frequently. But for anyone who was looking to learn of the survey's results, those likely won't be made public for a while.
Kisan Society and other on-the-ground organizations don't actually keep the surveys or process them. So that is done by BC Housing. They're the ones that, BC Housing is the organization that runs the count, and we probably won't know the results for some months.
Regardless of what the results end up being, homelessness continues to be a massive issue in the Northwest. And while more of the advanced ideas and bigger possible solutions to these problems should more than likely come from BC Housing, local organizations like the Kisan Society have some thoughts of their own on what to do.
I think a lot of organizations that are on the ground kind of already have a general idea of what clients need, and that's generally more housing, and not just housing, but housing with supports. Another
point of the survey that can really be beneficial as well is also highlighting the fact that appearances can be deceiving, and someone being homeless doesn't automatically mean that they're having to sleep on the street with a newspaper blanket. A lot of times we think of a specific kind of image of a person who is experiencing homelessness. The count is great because we really try to include people who might consider themselves, or who are maybe just unhoused or not securely housed. So somebody might have a camper that they're staying in, but if they're not paying a site fee, we would consider that unhoused. People might be couch surfing with friends and family. That's not really stable housing because you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow or next week. So I think having those numbers is really important, not just for housing and service providers, but I think it really helps to illustrate to the rest of the community who is experiencing it, what they're coming from, and I think it helps us understand that the impacts that we feel beyond homelessness, we can understand the root causes a little bit, because we know that homelessness has a huge impact in the community. Locally, even with the many problems and struggles that result from homelessness, people can still get help from shelters like the Garage and the Kisan Shelter, with other helpful services being offered at the Turning Points building on 444 Lake Elsa Avenue as well. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin.
A joyous celebration of Filipino culture ended in death and devastation Saturday after a speeding SUV plowed into a crowd at Lapu-Lapu Day in Vancouver, killing at least 11 people and injuring many more. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports from Vancouver.
People near the scene of this attack are trying to get their head around how what had been such a joyous day could turn so terrible so quickly on what Vancouver police are calling the darkest day in this city's history.
Welcome to Lapu-Lapu Day!
It was a day of celebration in the sunshine that ended in chaos and death. About 8:15 Saturday night, the Lapu-Lapu Filipino Festival was winding down when a black SUV plowed through a pedestrian-packed street.
You saw just carnage. It was like a bowling ball hitting bowling pins and bodies flying in the air.
Partying turned to panic and sheer terror.
There's a baby over there!
First responders raced in to help the injured left laying in the road. For some victims, it was already too late. Vancouver police say 11 are confirmed dead. The oldest was 65, the youngest just 5 years old.
This is a tragedy the likes of which the city has never experienced before.
When the SUV came to a stop, witnesses grabbed the driver. Police arrested 30-year-old Kaiji Adam Lowe. He's being charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder. Vancouver police are still working to determine a motive, but say they are confident this is not a case of terrorism.
The person we have in custody does have a significant history of interactions with police and healthcare professionals related to mental health.
Vancouver's Filipino community has been left shattered and numb.
We are in incredible pain. The Filipino community will show true resilience, and we will come together out of this catastrophe.
The Premier says they won't be doing it alone.
I don't think there's a British Columbian that hasn't been touched in some way by the Filipino community. You can't go to a place that delivers care in our province and not meet a member of that community. It's their turn. It's their turn to get care from us.
It is still so early in this community's grieving process, but it has already become clear Metro Vancouver, BC, and the entire country are standing in solidarity with Filipino Canadians.
We are now learning more about the individual who is now in custody and accused with 8 counts of second-degree murder. Here's the update.
Meters from the spot, lives were forever changed or lost. Hundreds of people have dropped off flowers and messages of support after a vigil where the Filipino community tried to put words to unspeakable violence.
We've lost lives that in such a meaningless tragedy.
We're all grieving for all the Filipinos.
Saturday night, a celebration of Filipino culture was ripped apart by a man in a speeding SUV who plowed through a crowd, killing multiple people and sending more than 30 to hospital.
Everything was in chaos. It's like a war zone, and it's like, I don't know, zombie apocalypse. Bodies everywhere.
30-year-old Kaiji Adam Lowe has been charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder. He was grabbed by witnesses before being arrested and appeared to apologize.
Smile, you I'm sorry.
Vancouver police searched this home believed to be Lowe's residence last night. Officers have had multiple interactions with Lowe involving his mental health. He also lost his brother to murder last year. Alexander Lowe was found dead inside a Vancouver home in January 2024. He'd been stabbed. As we learn more about the accused killer, police and the city are facing new scrutiny over security measures at public festivals.
We try to secure the city as much as we can, but the underlying root cause is mental health issues. And if we do not get people with significant mental health challenges the help they need, incidents like this, I should say, will continue to happen.
A father, mother, and 5-year-old daughter have been confirmed as 3 of the 11 victims killed Saturday. Shannon Patterson reports as we learn more about the victims.
The Lee family lived just blocks from the Lapu Lapu Festival. So on Saturday, Richard Lee, his wife Lynn Wong, and their 5-year-old daughter Katie walked over. 16-year-old Andy, Lee's son from his first marriage, decided not to go.
Andy was supposed to join them. At the last moment, he decided that he wanted to stay home to finish some homework. And the last thing that Andy received was a text from his dad at like 8:06 saying that, don't come anymore because it's over, we're gonna head home. And after that, it was radio silence.
When extended family learned an SUV had barreled through the crowd at the festival,
that's when panic kind of struck in.
Hours later, they were told Richard, Lynn, and Katie had all been killed, leaving Andy without his father, stepmother, and little sister.
He's still trying to absorb the situation, and I don't think he has fully comprehend what have happened.
The loss of 5-year-old Katie has hit the family especially hard.
She's just a very lively, cheerful person. There are times when she would just go to my parents' place and it'd be the life of the party. She's so adorable. We're gonna miss her.
Tone Lee has started a GoFundMe to cover funeral costs and to help extended family care for and raise Andy. And he wants to thank first responders and doctors and nurses who tried to save the victims.
We're just one of many families have been affected by this, and our heart goes out to all of them. The only thing that I can say is that you just have to cherish your loved ones, because life is short and you never know what can happen.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Coming up next, festival security is questioned. Now, it's election day today, but this weekend, federal party leaders took a step back from their final days to campaign to address the tragic events that unfolded at the Lapu Lapu Festival in Vancouver. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has more.
A somber start to the final day of the federal election campaign as leaders face the tragic news of what police are calling a mass casualty event at a Vancouver festival. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh was there shortly before the attack happened.
We honor those we lost, not by giving in to fear, but by living their spirit, by building a Canada where no one is treated as disposable, where everyone belongs, where hate has no home. We carry forward the flame of resistance, the strength to stand tall, to protect one another, to never let hate define us.
Mark Carney and the Liberal Party canceled their first campaign event to speak about the tragedy.
Families lost a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, a son, or a daughter. Those families are living every family's nightmare. And to them and to the many others who were injured, to the Filipino-Canadian community, and to everyone in the broader Lower Mainland, Vancouver, I would like to offer my deepest condolences.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre delayed the start of his campaign day 2, addressing the incident during an unplanned stop at a church with ties to the Filipino community.
Anna and I just wanted you all to know that our hearts are with you today. All Canadians are united in solidarity with the Filipino community. All Canadians are united with you in mourning the loss of these treasured lives and in binding our country together to support the surviving loved ones.
Both the Green Party and Bloc Québécois leaders also condemned the attack, and most parties made changes to their schedules on this final day of the campaign.
As the notoriously tight-knit Filipino community mourns, security now also comes into question as there are more festivals set for the season. Here's CTV's Camille Wilson.
We just couldn't fathom why this would happen.
Nora Areola shocked by the terrible news out of Vancouver, saying the pain is felt by Filipinos around the world.
I was so nervous this morning when I woke up because my daughter and our family lives in Vancouver, and at that time I couldn't even call them because the time difference.
Areola says she was relieved when she finally got a hold of her daughter to learn she didn't attend the festival.
One of their neighbors were there and witnessed the whole incident happening, and now she said they are so traumatized that they're helping that family. It's so sad.
Dan Gambito also heartbroken and grieving after finding out on social media his friend knew one of the victims that was killed.
My friend goes to big events such as this, and she actually just performed with her. And this is what we do. This is what Filipinos does. We love to celebrate together and really share the happiness. And that's why this is something that we just didn't really expect.
While members of the Filipino community are trying to grasp the tragedy that happened, Ottawa is getting ready for its celebrations and festivals for Filipino Heritage Month next month, raising concerns about security.
I think we just have to, plan security-wise now, being very careful and, and to look out the possibilities.
Yeah. Our hearts go out to our fellow kababayans or fellow countrymen in BC and the families affected, where we're also really concerned because there's another big event coming here in the capital city with another Filipino event as well.
Premier Doug Ford taking to social media Sunday morning expressing his condolences, saying this horrific act of violence has left us all in shock.
Our hearts and prayers definitely goes to the victims, all their families, and everyone affected by this tragic incident.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Turning to the weather, today's moon phase is a waxing crescent at 1% illumination. The sun rose at 5:58 this morning and sets at 9:04 p.m. Tonight on the north coast, conditions are looking cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. Winds from the west at 20 kilometers an hour, becoming light near midnight, a low of 6 degrees. Over the next few days on the north coast, the clouds will stick around another day, then expect some sunshine on Wednesday, then back to rain. Daily temperatures in the 9 to 11 degree range, overnight lows between 5 and 9 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, conditions are looking rainy, ending this evening, then cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. Winds from the south at 30 kilometers an hour, gusting to 50 and becoming light near midnight, a low of +4 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, conditions are looking mainly cloudy with a mix of sun and clouds on Wednesday, then back to showers. Daily highs in the 11 to 12 degree range, overnight lows in the 3 to 7 degree range. In the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, tonight conditions are looking partly cloudy, a 30% chance of showers this evening and a low of -1. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, expect some clouds tomorrow, then clear skies Wednesday, clouds coming in on Thursday. Daily highs between 12 and 16 degrees, overnight lows between 1 and 4 degrees. Checking your northwest highways now. On Highway 16, there's bridge maintenance and repairs underway on Haida Gwaii. Watch also for utility work, industrial traffic, pothole repair, and road sweeping throughout. On Highway 37, there's industrial traffic as well as road sweeping and frost heaves. On Highway 37A, watch for falling rocks and there's bridge maintenance. On Telegraph Creek Road, there are muddy sections and the rest area is closed at Burnt Trailer Tanzilla access. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, a behind-the-scenes look at Election Day coverage. CTV National News will be covering everything live as election results come in. Here's a sneak peek of what went on in the studio to prepare for coverage.
3, 2.
The countdown is on.
Rehearsal.
After weeks of campaigning,
Here we go.
it all comes down to this.
We're live right across the country.
Election night. And here is where Canadians will see all the twists and turns unfold.
Well, I think it's going to be a night of high political drama. They always say elections are the Olympics of news.
Chief anchor Omar Sachedina and chief political correspondent Vashi Kapelos will guide Canadians through one of the most critical elections of our time.
What kind of will set us apart is the type of analysis that our panelist is going to deliver. We have top-notch people who have run parties, who have been cabinet ministers.
That team of experts will fill the House for wall-to-wall coverage.
Every seat in this room is going to be filled with, again, some of Canada's top political minds.
Most of the election coverage taking place here, but plenty of action happening elsewhere in the CTV studios. I want you to come with me where we'll see the nerve center for election night called the Power Board, where you'll see live election results and analysis
as it comes in.
We'll also be taking a closer look at specific ridings. What were the key issues in those ridings? How do those issues translate into votes?
On television, radio,
welcome to the Breaking News Center,
and online, where the CTV News digital team will be updating every riding across the country.
there's a feature where you can look up your postal code and find out how the numbers are looking in your specific riding.
And with an election this close, CTV's decision desk will be a hotbed of action, looking at the votes from each riding before making a carefully calculated call.
And we're doing all that, in real time as the votes come in.
But the unpredictability is far from over.
What is predictable is that millions of Canadians will cast their ballots tomorrow, counting on us to tell you what Canada decides. Kamel Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Turning to the stock markets now. The Canadian dollar rose slightly. The price of gold was up $49.30. Oil was down 97 cents. Natural gas rose by 23 cents. Aluminum dropped $21. In Toronto, the TSX was up 88 points. The Venture Index dropped almost a point. In New York, the Nasdaq dropped almost 17 points, and the Dow Jones rose by just under 115. Still ahead, a boat takes to the skies. A man serving a first-degree murder sentence at Kent Institution in Agassiz, who beheaded his victim and kept the head in a jar before burying it, has filed an application to the Supreme Court of Canada claiming prison officials are wrongfully withholding books he's collected during his life sentence. Mahali Illis was transferred to the prison in 2022 and filed the application in federal court last month, saying the decision to deny him his books is unreasonable and he wants the court order to have them returned. Among the 19 nonfiction books in question is Hitler's Mein Kampf, Machiavelli's The Prince on the Art of Power, Sun Tzu's The Art of War, and biographies of Alexander the Great and Napoleon. Prison authorities put the books in storage, saying they are unauthorized, and correctional service policy allows officials to limit access to materials if they promote genocide, racial superiority, or incite hatred. Finally tonight, as we get into boating season, keeping our speed in check is something to consider, and this next story serves as a great reminder to exercise caution. Take a look.
This morning, a heart-pounding scene on this Arizona lake. The two men inside this speedboat miraculously walking away with just minor injuries after they went airborne during a race on Lake Havasu Saturday, flipping and twisting multiple times in the sky before crashing down into the water. The 10,000 horsepower speedboat, known as America One, attempting to break a speed record while raising money for charity, topping 200 miles per hour before taking to the sky.
There was just gasps and screams. And everybody held their breath.
Their team sharing this dramatic video from inside the cockpit. The racers accelerating quickly, then bracing for impact as they fly through the air. Ray Lee, the publisher of Speedboat magazine, watching it all unfold live.
It seemed like the boat was over-trimmed, meaning the propellers were a little bit further out of the water than the boat likes to be. And between the wind and being over-trimmed, it lifted the boat clear up out of the water and flipped.
According to event organizers, first responders were on the scene within 20 seconds of the wreck. The two drivers sustaining some broken bones and a fractured knee.
The first thing out of their mouths was, well, did we win the race? And, whenever you hear stuff like that, they're at least in good spirits. As bad as the crash was, the injuries were extremely minor.
That's our news for now. Thanks for watching.